Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Marco from Digital Dash. Today, I'm going to be going over a trade that I took today, and I really want to use this as an example to talk about why it's so important to trust your analysis. Stick to the plan, go into every trade with a plan, and to put on the risk and allow the trade to work and fully accept that risk when you do put that risk on for the trade. Today was a pretty crazy day. I took a trade that I wouldn't normally take, so I was a little bit nervous about that as far as not sticking to one of my favorite setups. This is a different type of trade that I took. Usually on a trade like this where we come into a big demand, a bigger zone, and we start reversing, and it's not a zone based trade. In this case, it kind of was, but as far as the entry, it's not really. On the 15 minute, I usually like looking at the 15 and then entering over the high of the second green candle, placing my stop loss below the second green candle, right? Um, that's been working out pretty decently for me so far, but in this case, I didn't. I would have entered over the high of the third green candle, and my entry was based on the 5 minute chart. So real quick, I'm gonna break this trade down, and then I'm gonna talk about what I could have done differently and some tips that are gonna help me in the future, and they could also help somebody else. So make sure you keep watching. But pretty much, I got in this on the 5, right? So that's why I didn't take the 2 candle 15 minute break entry, because I was actually looking at this on the 5. My a lot of my trading recently has been level 2 based. I need to see where the buyers are. I need to see where the sellers are at. In this case, there was a lot of buyers interested around this area. Coming into VWAP, I wanted to see if we could break above VWAP and hold. There was a lot of space to fill this gap with this huge imbalance, and we were pretty much targeting this zone up here where the imbalance was created and came from. So I was very interested to see if buyers could get us above VWAP and we could hold and stay above VWAP and make it to the top of the zone. So pretty much once we got the break, the VWAP break, I entered a little bit before that when I saw buyers coming in crazy on the level 2. Back here I didn't get in. The buyers were there, but when the sellers came in, the sellers really failed to move price lower. So that was something to note. We got this first push. Sellers came in. It was a little nerve wracking to see, but sellers failed to really make any new lows on their attempts, even with the pressure being so high. So seeing that consolidation and seeing buyers winning is what actually triggered me into the trade. Once I was in, I set my stop loss below these lows over here. It could have been lower, but I set them down here once we hoping that the momentum of those sellers getting cleared out will boost us higher. We got a nice little push. It wasn't anything crazy, but then we immediately started dipping back down. We somewhat held above VWAP. We did close a little bit below it here, but buyers kept us up. And then a little bit of sideways consolidation before a move started happening. This is when the lesson comes in, the lesson to myself and the lesson to people who can take something away from this. Pretty much, we hopped in here. Our target was up here. This was our target a little bit before the zone. I didn't want to risk price turning reversing on us, so that's where the target was at. Down here, let's see, where I just had this. This is where I ended up getting out of the trade, right? So we were up a significant amount around this time. Again, this is the target up here. This is where I wanted to get out of the trade at. Price started changing on us. I saw this. I got scared. Emotions came in. I didn't stick to the plan. I already have my target. I have my risk, where my stop loss, where I'm willing to get out if it goes against us. I have my target where I'm getting out if everything goes as planned. And I should have stuck to that, right? I should have set a sell limit for my target and my stop and just got off the charts, right? That would have been ideal for me to do. But instead I stuck around. I was watching the charts, and my emotions and my mind allowed me to create different scenarios and see things that were pretty much irrelevant, and that caused me to make irrational decisions and emotional decisions in my trading. So at this point, we started pushing them higher. I thought we were going to keep going since we did make a new high. Sellers came in a little bit more. I was expecting us to continue to make higher lows. In this case, we broke down. I drew on this trend line because I was looking, again, your mind starts just creating things. Your emotions are running high. You're just trying to find something, a way to make this make sense so that you can be right instead of just sticking to your original trade. I drew on this trend line. I said, okay, maybe we could bounce. This is a really bad trend line at that. Maybe we could bounce If we break below this trend line, then we can possibly fall back into here. I drew up this demand zone. I had to break a structure. I said, okay, maybe we can get down here and bounce off this. So, but I don't want to risk coming all the way back down here. So I might sell and then re-enter when price gets down here. But then I was like, okay, maybe what if price never gets back down here and it just dips down and then runs, which it ended up happening. So there was a lot of things going through my head instead of just putting on a trade, putting my target, putting my stop, and just leaving the charts, right? Long story short, we got this change of character here. So I said, all right, we're no longer making higher lows. We're breaking down now. It might be time for me to sell it. We broke down, drew up the trend line. I was like, once we break below the trend line, it might go down even more. So I liked my profits when we were up here. Pretty much we started breaking down. We broke below the trend line. I couldn't take it anymore. I sold out to protect the profits that I did have and take the 12 points, 13 points that I did have. And that was that, right? I waited all day. I was watching the charts all day to see if we could get a bounce back into this demand zone. And it never happened. And then my second biggest fear besides losing money on this trade happened. This thing turned around. We had a slight pullback, and then we rallied at 3 p.m. into our target, right, and beyond. And this really hurt, bro. I'm not gonna lie, because it's very simple, right? I did the analysis. You have to do the analysis. You have to trust the analysis. Trust the reason why you put on the trade in the first place. Accept your risk, right? I should have held this thing until the trade didn't work. I should have held this thing until the trade didn't work. What I did was I treated this like this was a trade that was already a winner. I treated this like this was a runner contract, a contract that was just running, I treated this like it was a trailing stop contract winner. And that's when you just have a contract. Once you're out your full position, you leave a little piece and you just let it run with the trend until the trend changes and you get out, right? Which is it's not a bad way to manage a trade, but in this case, I didn't let the trade work to its full potential, right? When you're targeting such a big move like this one, I was looking at a 32-point move in this case. You got to understand the price is not going to go straight up. So we got a nice push when we entered, had some consolidation, then we had a nice run, but realistically, price is not going to go straight up when things like this happen. And I understood that, but seeing my profit, seeing how much profit I lost by the time it came back down here, it was a lot emotionally, right? There was too many emotional decisions being made instead of just sticking to the plan that you put on when you originally entered the trade. Your target, your stop, you stick to it, you let the trade work. Those are the only two reasons why you should be selling your position, is if it hits target and if it hits stop loss. Now, if we were to say this trade hit target, right? Let's say I was 3 contracts deep. I sold my first 2 when we hit target, and then I left this one here. Then that would be a case where you're like, okay, I have one runner. This contract I'm gonna manage by, if conditions change, if trend starts to look like it's changing, if it starts dipping like this, then that's when you should sell it based on the conditions of the market, right? And it's very important, because that's what's gonna take you from break even to profitability. That's what's gonna take you from small winners to big winners. That's what's gonna grow your equity curve. Because when you're consistently taking small winners, they will compound, yes. But sometimes, and not rarely, but fewer than the other times where you're consistently taking those base hits, you're gonna get those home run trades in a sense, right? You're gonna get those big movers. You're gonna get those 32-point plays like this. You're gonna get those high risk to reward plays, and the only way that you're gonna be able to use those trades to grow your equity curve and to get some forward progress is if you allow the trades to work, right? If you're taking profit as soon as you see profit, if I would have just got in here and took profit as soon as we reached the top of this range here and took a little couple points, that's not what's going to grow your account. That's not what's going to get you guys the results that you're looking for. The only way to do this is to trust your analysis and allow your trade to work. Allow price to pull back, let price move how price is supposed to move, which was very healthy in this case. And there was no area for this to really bounce and make sense to me, right? I was really under the impression that it was going to pull back to this zone if it was going to come down. I was under the impression it was going to pull into this zone before it bounced. and it didn't. So I was confused, but I understood before that could happen. That's why I didn't want to completely sell my position at the top during the first signs of a down move, and then with the intention of rebuying it when we got to the zone, because I understood that there was a possibility we never get back to the zone and price just continues to head higher. So it kind of hurt seeing this, especially knowing how much profit I had at that point, and then how much I could have had if I sold during the first signs of the change of character, and then just everything. It did kind of hurt. I did have FOMO, but this is, these are the things that happen when emotions get involved in the trading, right? It was very simple. If I would have literally just set a sell limit for my target, set a sell limit, set a buy limit for my, or set a sell limit for my target and a sell limit for my stop loss, and just closed everything and walked away, we would have had a very, very nice winning trade at the end of the day. But, when you stick around, when you watch the charts, when you allow your mind to come up with all different type of scenarios, all different type of theories, all different type of ideas, and your emotions are just boiling, and you're watching your unrealized profit change, it does a lot to you psychologically. And that's what I want newer traders to understand. That's what I need to make sure I'm remembering before, when I put these trades on. Just put the trade on, trust your analysis, and let it work. If I didn't think it was a good trade, I wouldn't have put it on the trade. If there wasn't something that I saw, then I wouldn't have put on the trade, right? I'm at a point where I'm more disciplined in my trading now, as far as what trades I'm taking, and I have to trust that analysis and allow it to work. You see this a lot what happen with other trades as well. A lot of people talk about cutting their losses quickly, which is a great skill to have, but sometimes you need to allow the trade to breathe as well. We went to a little bit of drawdown after we saw profits in this trade, and if I would have been so quick to cut losses, it would have been the same thing. We would have missed out on a crazy move even sooner. So sometimes you do have to allow the trade to work, accept the risk when you put it on, right? People will put on the risk and say, okay, I'm going to have a 12 pip stop loss or a 12 point stop loss, and then sell out when they're 3 points in drawdown. So they never really fully accepted the risk. And more than likely that trade is going to turn around after that 3 point drawdown and start running anyway. So now you guys just disqualified yourself from a winning trade, in the attempt to keep your loser small. But now instead of having a big winner, you have a small loser, right? So sometimes you really have to, stick to your original trading plan, stick to the original plan you have for the trade, and let it work. That's the biggest thing. You have to let it work. As far as emotions, emotions are always going to be involved, but it's definitely going to be extremely hard when you're sitting there watching the chart. If you can set bracket orders, set orders that are going to automatically trigger, and you won't have to be around for it, set hard stops, set hard targets, and do it that way. If you're somebody who sweats over every tick, who trips over every candlestick they see, like I did today, just set hard targets and walk away. Let the computer execute the rest of the way for you. Once you're in, you're in. Just let it work. And it's just so important for people who are on the brink of being profitable, or people who are trying to grow their accounts, because if you're taking $20 to win, $20 win, $20 win, it's working. But you could have that $100, $150, $200 day that's gonna give you a little bit more leeway. It's gonna give you the boost you were looking for to really grow your account and make spikes in your equity curve, right? So that's my advice today, guys. Make sure you're letting your trades work, trusting your original analysis, and fully accepting the risk when you guys are putting these trades on. I can't express this enough. I honestly can't express this enough, guys. We had a winning trade. It was a winning trade, but we had, if we would have followed our plan exactly, we would have had a very nice winner on today, and it would have, felt really good just knowing that our analysis was correct today too. But instead, I had nothing but FOMO, some little profits, and a whole lot of FOMO, and a whole lot of kicking myself for not just setting my hard targets and walking away, guys. So this is my advice to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment, check the description, click the link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.